You look at him stretched across your sofa, half asleep, eyes barely open, breathing slow and calm, and it's easy to believe there's nothing more going on inside that quiet little body. Just a pet. Just a cat. But what if I told you that in his mind he isn't resting at all? What if, right now, he's guarding something, watching something, protecting a world you don't even realize exists? Because the truth is, if you think your male cat is just a regular cat with a few biological differences, you're not alone. Most people do. Feels simple. Male, female, same behavior, same emotions, same instincts. But beneath that soft fur and those slow blinks, there's a completely different system at work. A different way of thinking. A different way of seeing you, your home, and his place in it. And once you begin to understand that, something shifts. The small things he does, the things you've ignored 100 times, suddenly start to mean something. They start to tell a story. Take this moment. When he gets up, slowly walks around the room, pauses near the door, sniffs something you can't even detect, and then moves on like nothing happened. It looks random, meaningless, but it isn't. He's checking. To him, your home isn't just a place to eat and sleep. It's territory, and not in a casual way. In the wild, a male cat doesn't simply live somewhere, he patrols it. Constantly. His territory can stretch far beyond what you'd imagine, and every inch of it matters. Every scent, every sound, every tiny change. So when he circles the room, when he inspects that bag you just brought in, when he stares out the window at something you can't see, he's not being curious. He's working. He's making sure everything is still his. That nothing has crossed a boundary. That nothing unfamiliar has slipped into his world without his permission. And that's why, sometimes he reacts so strongly to something outside the window. A stray cat passing by. A bird landing too close. His body stiffens, his eyes lock in, his tail flicks with quiet intensity. That's not entertainment. That's a border being tested. And here's the part most people miss. He doesn't see your home as yours. He sees it as his. You are part of it, yes. Important even. But you exist inside the space he has claimed, mapped, and memorized in ways you can't fully understand. Every corner holds information. Every object has a scent. Every routine builds a pattern he depends on. That's why something as small as moving furniture, bringing in new objects, or changing a familiar smell can unsettle him more than you expect. It's not about discomfort. It's about disruption. His world has rules. Invisible ones. And when those rules shift without warning, he has to start over, piece by piece, rebuilding his understanding of what is safe. And then there's something even more fascinating. Something you've probably never noticed, even though it's been right in front of you this whole time. Watch him closely the next time he plays. Not just casually, really watch. When he reaches for something, a toy, a piece of food, even your hand, which paw does he use first? It might seem like a small, meaningless detail. But it isn't random at all. Deep inside his brain, there's a preference shaping every move he makes. A quiet bias you can see if you're paying attention. He will almost always lead with the same paw. And that choice, that tiny, almost invisible decision, reveals something extraordinary about how his mind works. It tells you how he reacts, how he processes the world. Whether he's more impulsive, more reactive, more driven by instinct than hesitation. It's like catching a glimpse of the hidden wiring behind everything he does. And suddenly he's not just your cat anymore. He's something far more complex. Something far more intentional. And you've only just started to see it. There's a moment every cat owner knows. When your cat presses his face gently against your hand, or rubs along your leg as if he's saying hello. It feels soft, affectionate, almost like a quiet, I love you. And in a way it is. But for him, it's also something more ancient, more meaningful than simple affection. Because in his world, scent is everything. When a male cat marks something, most people see it as a problem. A bad habit. Something frustrating, something to stop. But what if it was never meant to annoy you? What if, instead, it's one of the most honest ways he knows how to speak? He isn't trying to ruin your space. He's trying to define it. Through glands hidden along his cheeks, his chin, even between his toes, he leaves behind messages you'll never smell, but other animals would understand instantly. Layers of identity. Signals that say, I've been here. I belong here. This place is mine. And when he rubs against you, when he circles your legs or gently bumps his head into your hand, he's not just asking for attention. He's including you. He's placing you inside his map of the world. You are no longer just someone who feeds him or shares the space. You become part of his territory. Part of what he protects. Part of what he recognizes as safe. It's not ownership in the way we think of it. It's connection. And that connection shapes something else you may have noticed, the way he approaches the world around him. Male cats don't move through life the same way females often do. Where some cats stay cautious, selective, deeply bonded to only a few familiar faces, male cats tend to stretch outward. They explore more. They accept more. They move through unfamiliar situations with a kind of quiet confidence. You see it when someone new walks into your home. While another cat might disappear, hide, or observe from a distance, he might step forward. Curious, open, willing to investigate rather than retreat. It's not that he isn't careful. It's that he's built for expansion. In the wild, a male cat's life depends on navigating wide, unpredictable territories filled with strangers. He can't afford to reject everything unfamiliar. He has to assess quickly, adapt, and move forward. And that same instinct lives inside him now, even in the safety of your home. But there's another side to him. A side that doesn't look calm or controlled at all. You've seen it? That sudden explosion of energy in the middle of the night. The way he sprints across the room for no reason. The ambushes from behind furniture. The intense focus on something that isn't even there. Can feel chaotic, even a little crazy. But it isn't random. It's practice. Every leap, every chase, every rapid movement is part of something deeply ingrained. A rehearsal for survival. A simulation of the hunt. And male cats don't approach that instinct quietly. They throw themselves into it. There's less hesitation, less patience, more force, more speed, more commitment. When he locks onto something, even if it's just a toy or your moving foot under a blanket, his entire body engages like it matters. Because to him it does. That energy has to go somewhere. If it doesn't, it builds. It turns into restlessness, frustration, even destructive behavior you might not understand. But when you meet him in that space, when you give him something to chase, something to catch, something to conquer, something changes. He settles. Not just physically, but mentally. Because for a moment, his world makes sense again. And then, beneath all of that strength, that instinct, that outward confidence, there's something far more fragile. Something most people don't see until it's almost too late. A male cat doesn't show weakness easily. In fact, he hides it better than you'd expect. There may come a time when something feels slightly off, but not enough to alarm you. He's a little quieter, a little slower. Maybe he eats less or hesitates before jumping somewhere he once reached without thinking. It's easy to dismiss, to assume it's just a mood. But for him, silence doesn't mean nothing is wrong. It often means the opposite. Because deep inside his nature is a rule he cannot break. Never show vulnerability. And that means when something is truly wrong, when he's uncomfortable, in pain, or struggling, he won't tell you in obvious ways. He won't cry out. He won't make it clear. He will simply change, in small, almost invisible ways. And unless you're paying attention, unless you truly know him, those changes can slip past you. Quietly. Just like he intended. There's something almost heartbreaking about how quietly he carries himself when something isn't right. No dramatic signals. No clear warning. Just small changes, the kind you could easily miss if you weren't looking closely. Maybe one day he doesn't jump onto his favorite spot by the window. Not because he can't, but because something about it feels harder than it used to. Maybe he lingers a little longer before sitting down or shifts his body in a way that looks unfamiliar, subtle, almost unnoticeable. And then there are the moments that feel even smaller. He pauses at his food bowl, eats a little less, walks away sooner than usual, or he starts grooming the same spot again and again, as if trying to fix something you can't see. Not aggressively, not urgently, just repeatedly. On their own, each of these moments feels harmless, easy to explain away. But together they form a quiet pattern, a language without sound. Because he won't tell you directly. He can't. Somewhere deep in his instinct, there's a rule that's older than your home, older than your bond, older than anything you've shared with him. Never appear weak. So instead of asking for help, he adapts. He withdraws. He hides it. And that's what makes understanding him so important. Not just loving him, but truly knowing him. Knowing how he moves when he's comfortable. How he rests when he's at peace. How he reacts when you touch him, call him, sit beside him. These details may seem ordinary, even forgettable, but they are your baseline. Your reference point. Because when something shifts, even slightly, that's when he's speaking to you. Just not in a way you're used to hearing. And then, beyond all of this, beyond the instincts, the silence, the hidden signals, there's something deeper. Something that defines the way he connects with you more than anything else. Consistency. It doesn't sound emotional. It doesn't sound powerful. But to him, it's everything. While you move through your days freely, changing plans, adjusting routines, doing things differently without a second thought, he watches. He remembers the time you wake up, the way you walk through the house, the tone of your voice when you speak to him, the rhythm of feeding, playing, resting. These aren't small details to him. They are structure. They are safety. Every time you repeat the same action in the same way, you're telling him something without realizing it, that the world is predictable, that nothing is about to suddenly change, that he can relax. And slowly, over time, something begins to build. Trust. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But quietly, piece by piece. That's why a male cat might seem distant at first. Watching you from afar. Keeping space. Taking his time. It's not rejection. It's evaluation. He's learning you. Testing whether you are consistent, whether you are safe. And when he finally decides that you are, everything changes. It doesn't happen loudly. There's no clear moment you can point to. But one day he's closer than before. Sitting beside you instead of across the room. Following you without being called. And then, without warning, he chooses you. He climbs into your lap. Rests against you. Falls asleep as if there was never a distance between you at all. And in that moment it might feel sudden. Random. Even surprising. But it isn't. It's the result of every quiet morning you didn't rush him. Every time you let him come to you. Every moment you respected his space instead of forcing your presence into it. You became predictable. And in his world, predictable means safe. And safe means everything. Because to him, love isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It isn't expressed in obvious ways. It's built in silence. In patience. In trust that never gets broken. So the next time you see him lying there, eyes half closed, looking like he's doing nothing at all, remember this. There's a whole world behind those eyes. A world of instincts, decisions, quiet observations, and careful trust. And in that world, you're not just his owner. You're something he chose. And once a male cat makes that choice, he doesn't change his mind.